Hey everyone, this is Alex. I'm here to talk about elderly sexuality, which is a topic that is pretty uncomfortable for people to talk about, especially when it comes to thinking about your parents or grandparents engaging in this activity that is just a normal part of life. But it causes a lot of problems when the elderly are disregarded of their sexual rights and um, especially in major residential settings or care by healthcare professionals. So society really views elderly sexuality in about three different ways. They think that older adults are not having sex, or that they shouldn't be having sex, and that it's disgusting, or that it's just a funny thing that they are having sex because that person can just be what they would call like a dirty old man, and it's not something that is common. In reality, though, um, many older people are very sexually active. Um, Studies have shown that the baby boomers, approximately 80% of married men and 89% of married women in the age of 60 to 64 are engaged in sexual activity. Also, for older adults over 80 years old, approximately 29% of men and 25% of women still engage in sexual activity. So, in reality, those numbers are pretty high, and it's kind of showing that society views the sexuality in a negative way and that they aren't really having sex, but in reality, they are having sex. So these negative views of society can kind of cause problems with this population. Like I mentioned, in residential settings, professionals and staff uh, can have a hard time talking about this topic with the elderly clients because it is uncomfortable. It's something that they didn't even believe was really happening, and this will oftentimes disregard the sexuality of the older adults, which is denying them of their sexual rights. Um, it can cause more negative attitudes and cause older adults not to get the proper education about sex at an older age, and this can include not giving them education about how their body is changing when it regards to sex and how uh, to remain uh, healthy in their sexual lifestyles. It could also make clients feel unsafe to express their sexuality, which is something that's very concerning. Um, Looking at the circles of sexuality, uh, all the circles are really affected with aging. For example, sensuality, um, sexual pleasure is affected by the five senses, but as we get older, we know that our senses can often decline in certain areas. Um, but this will cause older adults to seek pleasure in different areas, whereas they were getting it before. Intimacy is also affected. For example, if a couple is together and one of the couple becomes cognitively or physically impaired, or even both of them, they can eventually lose that closeness that they once had with each other, as they can no longer be as intimate as each other as they once were. Sexual identity is something that is also affected because of the stigmas against elder sexuality. It may not allow them to properly identify. For example, um, if a gay man was spending his whole life trying to identify himself as being gay, and he got older and found that his that he was not being accepted, it actually can cause him to go back into the closet after he spent his whole life coming out. Um, it just makes them not feel safe if these stigmas constantly attack them, and especially when they've been in an era where this was not as accepted as it is today. Reproduction and sexual health circle is definitely affected as well. Um, these adults may not understand exactly what's happening with their body as they age. For example, going through postmenopausal phases, and they may not be aware of the possible diseases they can still get, although many women cannot get pregnant after postmenopausal. So a lot of things are affected as we age here. It's important for healthcare professionals to become trauma informed and create an environment where older adults can express their sexuality and feel safe about it. So to do that, they need to create a safe environment where they're able to comfortably talk about this topic, um, and know that it's not something to talk about in front of family members of the client, or even maybe there may be situations where the client will want to talk to a same sex staff. So someone who is a male may want to speak to a male staff about this topic, or opposite female may want to talk to a female about it, and needs to be aware that we need to give this attention to them and make sure they're getting the proper space where they can be open about their sexuality instead of trying to block them. This will create more of like a collaboration with clients where you can actually teach them proper sexual education and facts about sexual health and teach them what's going on with their bodies and what can still happen, and like things like STDs. So it's important for this collaboration to occur. Furthermore, you can empower older adults to be smart with their sexual choices, and this can happen again with collaboration and speaking with them, to help them understand that there are ways to be sexual that are healthy and things you can do with your body to remain sexually active instead of just trying to disregard their sexuality in general. And this can happen through constant training and continuing to learn about how to discuss these sexual issues. Well, I want to thank you guys for watching my presentation. It was a great semester, and I hope you guys do well in your future. And thank you so much.